Almighty Suspect will no longer be a host on No Jumper. For anyone who's living in a hole in the ground, there was a confrontation last night between Brandon, aka Bucci Bear, aka Dark Brandon, and Almighty Suspect that resulted in both spit flying and a knife being pulled out. Both of these are infractions that
There's been at least 2 occasions up there in No Jumper where some shit went down. Seemingly, like anybody with logical sense would say this was planned and coordinated effort. But then there's the legal plausible deniability where this motherfucker would not be at the office or have somebody else put it together, even though they were the ones that say they want it, but they tell you, hey, you put that together. You know what I mean? But this is a conversation y'all had in privacy. So, I mean, I could ultimately say, hey, I told you to do that, but I ain't tell you to do all that type shit. The webs they weave when they weave to deceive, basically. But let's hear this bullshit out. And my boy Freshback, he hit the tanning beds and all this bullshit. And notice who we got back. The sick one, fool.
Almighty Suspect will no longer be a host on No Jumper. For anyone who's living in a hole in the ground, there was a confrontation last night between Brandon, aka Bucci Bear, aka Dark Brandon, and Almighty Suspect that resulted in both spit flying and a knife being pulled out. Both of these are infractions that I fear we just cannot.
Both of these are infractions. Y'all hear this shit, man. Y'all hear this shit. Why did you get 4 extra a job? Why is 4 extra employed there? Why is Munchie B employed there? Matter of fact, fuck it. Why has Suspect been there? Was you gonna fire him after Kelby? But because that worked out and it wasn't no litigation and shit, and everything went in his, like, it was, bruh, Adam a sick fool, man. He a sick motherfucker, dog. But just hear how he'll set this shit up now. All of a sudden, he's white. He on his white boy shit now. All of a sudden, he don't do this degenerate black. All this shit is beneath the platform. Like, it's bait and switch. It's literally a bait and switch. And motherfucker, nah, I ain't gonna get there yet. Let's see.
Not tolerate as a business. You know, many times over the past couple of years, I've looked back at the Kelpie incident, and I have felt like I was a little too lenient. Like, I feel like that incident, even though we managed to skate essentially because we got Kelpie to sign off on suing us, I think.
So what's happening right now? He trying to protect himself. He trying to put a shield between him and the actions of his employees, because I guess technically Suspect did do some shit that would warrant a fucking lawsuit, that could potentially warrant a lawsuit for the company. And in the courts, they would couple that shit with his past, you know what I'm saying, actions at the work, you know what I mean? So now he going back and saying, yeah, I was a little too lenient then, but we were all here. Well, not all of us. Some of us don't even fuck with this platform, but a lot of viewers, at least 50,000 people who witnessed, you know what I'm saying, I've been watching this shit go on where exactly what the fuck he's saying he don't do is exactly what he do. You know what I mean? It's just disgusting, man. It's disgusting. So then he gonna say that wait, let me let him finish.
I think it was extremely lenient of us to not.
It was extremely lenient, but now keep in mind, you brought a fake pimp and you employ someone that is a self-professed pimp. So right there, if we talking about, you know what I mean, it just follow me now. I ain't gonna. If we going by ethics and you know what I mean, all that shit, you see how you mix and match that shit. That shit don't even go together. Yeah. Sunshine Baby say they thought T-Rail was hating when he warned them all to leave because how 16 moves and we just replaced them, but they can't complain now. X. Well, shit, yeah. Well, you, it's rinse, cycle, repeat. You know what I mean? You watch this shit, he running the same fucking script over and over and over again. Did he not? Who was it? Before Sharp, and somebody posted this. Yaz's did. Before Sharp got fired, y'all don't remember he brought the AJ motherfucker back to press him to talk crazy to him? You know what I'm saying? Go in there, say what you want to say to him. And then they're gonna blame, then they're gonna turn around and blame well, it wasn't just AJ. They did the AJ shit that they kept bringing the damn homie girl and running that play. Like it's a play at a run. You know what I mean? When he done with it, when he done with his slaves, you know what I mean? He basically make a motherfucker not worth shit and then give them their freedom papers type shit. But there's an element of, you know what the fuck you doing, or you know what I'm saying? You know what the fuck you doing. You shouldn't be over there in the first place. So if you want to do that, that's what you want to do. But yeah, man, it's this shit. You can't even hide that shit. The motherfucker, he know what he be doing. He don't give a fuck about none of his employees. Everybody that he said he gave a fuck about or pretended to give a fuck about, watch when the moment hits. Like I say, the whole time it wasn't, oh, I was being lenient and no shit like that with Almighty Suspect after the Kelpie shit. Like the whole premise of him even being there, like I said, ain't no moral compass up there. Y'all gotta remember that this motherfucker worshiped the devil. He said, well, oh, he do worship the devil. Don't let him lie to y'all because he just say, no, I'm an atheist. Man, you get to the core of that shit, motherfucker. You worship evil shit. You don't believe in righteousness. You don't even have a compass for no shit like that. You believe in longer discussion, man. But let's get through here because we gonna get off of this shit because we got better shit to talk about.
Fire sus at that time. And I'm not going to lie, there's been a couple times since then, in particular with the whole Jalise thing, where it really, really felt like he was on the border of attacking her.
Now, I don't know if y'all seen that shit, but now he's saying with the Jalise shit, with the girl that was talking crazy to him, getting up, standing over him, all that shit. He stayed sitting the whole time. Adam's literally sitting here. Now he's sitting here saying that he was doing too much when he went back and forth with her, even though that, like, everything that he's been here for, that y'all had him employed at that establishment for, now turn around, y'all saying, yeah, nah, you was doing too much. Every time you was doing the shit that kept you here, you were doing too much. Like I say, and I hate it ain't that I hate to cover No Jumper, but it is to an extent because, man, I know it's bullshit, but a lot of motherfuckers don't know it's bullshit. So I want to bring it to the forefront and just highlight this shit. You know what I mean? I don't want to spend, like I said, I don't try to spend too much time in it, but I just want to give some of my time to highlight the bullshit, the walls that he put up so that you can kind of see through that shit. 16 needed the content and a way to get rid of sus. He played them good. Facts, Sunshine. That's all it was. That's all it was. It's, and like I say, coincidentally, he's nowhere to be found. Every time the shit go down, coincidentally, he's not in the office, but he's right back the next day, you know what I mean, for the follow-up. And he usually come back with a tan. I noticed that as well. This motherfucker's sick, dog.
That got a little scary for me and made me feel like, Jesus Christ, maybe.
You see how he's just turned. Now, don't get me wrong. Sus did a good job of himself of playing the what you call it, the angry black man. He did a lot of that. He did a great job himself doing that. But that don't take away from the fact that that's exactly what you had him there for. And now you turning around saying you feared that he was finna do something to that girl when that man was sitting in his seat and that girl was standing over him. And she brought a sick, man. Mickey Knox, what's going on, man?
This is not okay. But yeah, I just feel like we just can't tolerate that kind of stuff in here. It's just way over the line.
Now keep in mind, before he finished, this the same motherfucker who hired 4 Extra and had 4 Extra on the interview with Orlando Brown and had him yoked up and shit like that. And I dropped a video a while back and I kept playing that clip in there. I played it in there a few times, but the reason I kept playing because I want motherfuckers to see this shit and look how Adam's looking at motherfuckers when they doing that shit. You know what I mean? You literally bring these people up here to do this foul shit, do this wild shit, and then you turn around like, man, yeah, that was too much. We shouldn't have done that. It's like, but this is America. At some point, you gotta realize this is a microcosm of a macrocosm. That is on a small scale what America is all about, or at least I don't want to say all about because this is just a facet of it. You know what I mean? But this is like I say, this is a facet of what America is all about, especially where people like him are concerned.
I have nothing against him. I told him I have nothing bad to say about him. I'm not gonna come on here and trash him. I'm not gonna treat.
You already trashed him. When you come on here and say that everything that you hired him for are reasons why you've been concerned and you felt like you should have fired him a long time ago, that's trashing him. But see, colder play, we're gonna get to. I'm gonna let them all the way finish. But I think Adam is trying to get rid of all the hip hop shit. I think he finna. Y'all remember when AD them first left, and they tried to do that pivot, or before they left, the pivot that Adam was trying to make. I think they finna really try to do that again. You know what I mean? And just really bring. Well, we'll get there.
Treat him like a sharp or anything like that, but as a
white man, motherfucker don't even realize they being a sharp. They don't even realize they being a sharp. Oh, excuse me. They don't even realize what the fuck they doing about it. You know what the fuck you doing. You know what I mean? Now you acting like I don't want to treat him like a sharp, but you sit up here disparaging this man's name. You fired him for doing exactly what you had him up there to do. And then you turn around and say, well, I don't want to treat him like a shark. You see, that's the games they play. They'll do that shit and still try to act like they not the bad guy, like they ain't doing nothing wrong. So when you say something, you do what you gonna do, you get controlled by or overrun by your emotions and shit, they'll just reflect it back on you. So that's on you. It's sick shit, man. Hey, Mickey Knox, it might be the Blood's turn. And I found a picture from Adam22 back in high school or back in his early 20s or some shit like that. Y'all know he was a Blood out there in wherever the fuck that shit is from. Hash Brown Town, wherever the fuck it is. Y'all know he was out there banging white Bloods. We gonna get there. We gonna get there. Don't worry. We gonna get there. You know what I mean? And it makes sense. Now, it ain't a lot of context. You just see him with his, well, you know, when white people, like motherfuckers, what they call their gangster pose, where they got they stone face and shit, and he got a big ass red bandana, he holding that bitch behind his head. You know what I mean? We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. But it definitely seemed like it might be the Blood's time. But I think he planned to do things a little different. But yeah. Hey, let me say this. It might be some dark shit going on with that Adam ain't privy to. And I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. I may get there. I don't know if I really want to touch on, but hey, do y'all care about what's going on with Wack 100 and Suge Knight? If y'all do, I'll give y'all. I will shed a little light briefly on how that some dark shit that's going on with that. But let's finish this up so we can get the fuck off this funny looking motherfucker, this goofy looking motherfucker.
Business, the liability associated with having somebody on camera who we have like essentially no assurance is not gonna fly off the handle like that. It's just
fly off the handle like what? You know his triggers. He's expressed his triggers on camera. And now I get it. Once you're tired of a motherfucker and you know that it's in your job description, even though you haven't, it's called a function. All right. Even though you got so you hired him and you got these standards of how you're supposed to act, how you're supposed to conduct yourself. However, you would hire an individual and it's kind of unspoken that you hired him to kind of not fall under that. You know what I mean? But ultimately, you still have those that job role or those descriptions set in place as a clause that you can enact when it's time to, you know what I mean, save you. You know what I'm saying, save yourself and do what you're supposed to do. So when a motherfucker sit up there and say, "Yeah, we fired you for," and you know what I mean, based on all this shit right there, even though that's what you hired me for, you know what I mean, on paper, it's exactly what needs to be on paper so that if it ever goes to Bali or EEOC, they can, you know what I mean, they got the proper shit set in place to where it ain't go, it shouldn't get nowhere. It shouldn't get too far unless you just got a cold ass lawyer. But I don't see Such trying to do no shit like that. I'm not, because what the fuck is it really worth? Best thing can happen to him, in my opinion, is to get the fuck away from there.
It's just too big of a risk, and it's just not the kind of platform that I want to run at this point. I mean,
it's too big of a it's too big of a risk to have everybody suspect that. But you got 4 extra over there yoking up in the black. I mean, all right, you say what you want to about Orlando Brown, but he's been a staple. Before he went bad, he was a staple in the motherfucking black community, especially in Hollywood. I won't say in the black community, but black entertainment for damn near 20 years. From the early 90s to the mid to not 30 years, maybe 15, but from the early 90s to the mid 2000s. And then you bring him on your platform so you can have your gangster, your junkyard dog talk crazy to him, snatch him up, yoke him up, and you just look at how you look at him. But that's not too much. You know what I mean? You embrace that. But like I say, that's not isolated. He embraced Suspect the same way. When Suspect came with that energy, that was the same shit. You know what I mean? It's just funny. Like I said, that's the white people where they have it is the white people, but it's like the American, they have that shit set in place. They set these clauses even in that are lay dormant. But when it's time, they can say, hey man, we can't be having that up here because we still even though he runs his platform like it's the hood, like it's a day room pod, he's still motherfucking, when it's scaled back, he'll just turn around and be like, no, this is white man in America. I do white man in America stuff. We gonna run this like white men in America. Like at the drop of a dime, I'll be on your side and it just flip. And then he'll say, no, that's still my boy. That's still my boy. That's still my boy, right? But yeah, since Brick Baby went to jail, who you really sit out there, we knew better because we watched this shit. We watched what you did to AD, but you did the same thing to Brick. Once he went to jail, all that close friend, real friend shit, turns out, no, we were something like friends. We were something like, you know what I mean? That shit out of work. And now all of a sudden you got 607 Unc who ain't been doing nothing but saying disparaging shit, crazy shit about Brick this whole time, all over it, all on your page. He got like 4 interviews, you know what I mean, in your members only shit where he interviewing motherfuckers. It's like, it's sick. You know what I mean? It's sick. But it's an old saying, you see a dummy bump his head. And that's essentially what's going on, man.
I mean, honestly, the loose cannon situation has been a very bad look for the brand. There's definitely been artists who are just straight up like scared to come here to do interviews.
What about the time you thought it was quality entertainment to have a black dude bum rush your store and pretend to rob you, and then you have your black employees beat them up? Like, oh man, you got to be able to see through the shit, but you can't forget what you saw. Because when you forget what you saw, then, you know what I mean, you ain't got no context for what he's saying, and what he's saying sound right. You know what I mean? The shit he say, you could bring that to court, and if the opposing side didn't do their homework, he gonna walk up out of there. We off this, man. Let's spend goddamn 30 too much time to talk about that. Now let's go back. Now that we got there, I hope you didn't move no more. Yeah.
Blacked the screen out so we couldn't see what was going on. But I guess apparently what happened was Dodson, fearing for his life, pulled out a knife and
nobody, including Lush on camera, said there was no knife. The only person saying that there was a knife was Brandon. And Hefe went on his platform the next day and said there was no knife. You know what I mean? And now y'all get in the comments, and this is how it worked. Not in the comments, not my comments, y'all don't give a fuck. But they'll get in his comments and be like, you know, they just lying because it's the streets and all that shit. Well, come on now. How you pick you can't be selective with plausible deniability. So if it's if it's plausible, so if they saying that they ain't see it, but you saying nah, they just saying that because they from the streets. You know what I mean? But yeah, you can do the shit that you do, the street shit that you platform on your channel, and then turn around and be like, yeah, nah, but this ain't. This is something different. You know, motherfucking sick, man.
Brandished it.
I don't. Suspect didn't pull no motherfucking knife out. If he pulled a knife out, we would have seen it. If he pulled it, I think the whole tone and I think the whole energy in the room would have changed. Because, yeah, man, it's just, we all know what it was. Matter of fact, we're done with this. We are done. No. We can't be done with it because we got to hear Brandon's give his perspective on it. We got to hear that. And then we need to hear what academics got to say about it. Because don't forget, man, at the end of the day, academics don't fuck with no jumper. He act like he do, but he really don't. And he ain't fucked with him since that, whatever the situation was that put them at odds, for lack of better words. Yeah, well, don't worry. We're gonna get the academics from here. We finna tear in academics from here. No, let's let big.
Yesterday, you guys saw a crazy situation that unfolded.
Now, his sleeper cell, like I say, my opinion is that he was sent there. He came in there to do what he did. He was told, it was set up to do what he did. I don't know about Lush either, man, because Lush might just have been acting real good. He was acting like he was on such side, but when you take a step back and look at it, Lush was almost making sure that the situation got there. You know what I mean? Yeah.
With your boy Almighty.
We're gonna listen to this fat liar though, man. Every time this dude speak, what he does is he's a filibuster king. You know what I mean? He'll talk for a long time and say a bunch of shit that sound like it makes sense, but he talking so fast and stringing shit together, you don't got enough time, at least in the moment, to break that shit down of the lies and bullshit he's saying. But what happened is, if you talk to him long enough, you'll be having a conversation. Man, for real, after having a conversation with dude, though, the conversation, he'll be making these points this way, and then, like, that's his position. And then 5 minutes later, he'll be making points that contradict the points that, you know what I'm saying, he was standing on first. Basically, like I say, anything this motherfucker saying is just to be a contrarian or just to win the argument. And whenever you're dealing with a motherfucker that just want to be right in the argument, there's this old saying that it's not about who's right and who's wrong. It's about what's right and what's wrong. And a lot of motherfuckers in this internet space, particularly him and Adam, they want to be right. They don't care if what they saying is right. They want to be seen as the right person.
Dotson.
Yeah, Lush gave it away after looking at it. Facts. But like I say, it was a cold white scheme. They played monkey games, what they call it. Cold white scheme they played. Lush, let's go.
AKA,
we got to get up out of here.
Lush's butt boy. And I know people got a lot of opinions on that. And
actually, we don't give a fuck what you think. I don't care. We gonna get academic thoughts on this shit. Cause fuck it, man. We gotta get off of this shit.
Y'all just keep setting yourself up for indictments. Here's my thing. Y'all are going up there. The most intriguing content you could get is a fight. It's turning to baddies. It's Zeus. You know Zeus. I keep saying, any girl that watch Zeus, red flag. I would watch, I don't even want to mention who, but they're watching Zeus. When it's talking, they don't like it. When it's argument, now they're tuned in. When it's a fight, they're like, they're into it. It's turned into this. They can't get our attention by just having dialogue, great debates. It's all about who's going to turn up on who marched who out, who walked outside for the squabble, who got robbed, and I love it because it's like a reality show.
Nah, facts. That's why I say I don't like watching those. I hate that I'm compelled to watch some of that shit. But it's some genetic shit in motherfucker. It's not genetic. It's some program shit of how motherfuckers was raised that I'm entertained by shit like that. Even though I don't got no business watching, I shouldn't be watching no shit like that. You know what I mean? You know, we all do shit we know we shouldn't be doing. We do it anyways. And No Jumper, to an extent, is one of them ones, and it's rarely at this point. Like I said, it's got to be something that is going. I really feel like I'm gonna get something, not get something from, but get something to talk about from watching that shit. See, you can't. You can watch. Sometimes you can watch shit that's wrong to learn what's right. You get what I'm saying? It's a lot easier, or it's a lot more orthodox to watch shit that's right to learn what's right. But there's even more times, especially on the internet's day and age, where you can watch shit that's being done wrong, watch stupid shit, watch foolishness, and get to pick up the proverbial lessons and pick up, because by and large, like I say, I've said this before, man, the masses of people are, for lack of better terms, fools. And that's why you have governments and people in place and all that shit. That's why people work, you know what I mean? That's why the world is the way that it is because the majority of human beings aren't, you know what I mean, analytical, critical thinkers. They're not doers, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that to take away, it's just because this is the programming of society, of life. You know what I mean? You get programmed, and you got parents and shit that get programmed, or grandparents get programmed like that, and it just goes down and shit. But I digress. You can watch the wrong thing to see what's right, and you know what I'm saying, to get a lot of clarity. You know what I'm saying? And that's typically the only reason I find myself watching this shit. Like I said, I tried to watch some shit with him and Lush having an analytical or quote unquote intellectual debate. Within 5 minutes, I'm off. I'm gone, because first of all, ain't nothing intellectual about this shit. Like, the discussion isn't even, like, these aren't even intellectual topics. But the fact that motherfuckers, Adam is playing in our faces, it's just by having that motherfucker, just by even doing that content. You know what I mean? And we shouldn't be watching the shit. But like I say, man, we all do things we know we shouldn't. Let's get through here, man, because Academics is cooking. But listen to what he's saying. Academic play like he Adam's friend. He is not Adam's friend. He don't like him, and he don't like what he doing. Y'all just gotta listen to the tone, the inflection in his voice, and what he's saying. And he's saying all the right shit. He ain't saying nothing wrong.
I wouldn't do it because I've got enough lawsuits. I don't want no employee. And by the way, Adam will learn in time because
Mickey Knox, Brandon's voice, yeah, that's why they call him Bucci Bear. It starts there. It starts there. I ain't know if that. I would hate to have that voice and that be the voice I have to talk to my son with. You know what I mean? That'd be an uphill battle, especially when he get a couple years, when he get up there in the teenage years and shit. Yeah, when you talk like that, you better be trained and know how to fight, because motherfucker gonna try you.
When you say you make $12 million, I know you trying to play broke now. They ain't forget. They're going to sue your ass into oblivion. The only thing that Adam has, he's a little bit smart with, the stupid gangbangers he brings onto his show don't know how to file lawsuits. Because there's hella lawsuits going on.
Man.
They're not suing him, and I hope they don't. Because trust me, I know I pay a lot of lawyers. But all of this shit where niggas is ready to fight, niggas is spitting, niggas is doing this, niggas is snitching, niggas is doing... What? This is mayhem. That's why I say No Jumper is different. If I saw my platform at the heart and center of a criminal indictment with multiple people referencing multiple conversations, I would lead away from it. Y'all just keep setting yourself up for indictments. Here's my thing. Y'all are going up there, the most intriguing content you could get.
Yeah, we finished that. All right. So now that we talking about act, and he won't talk about what they doing wrong, let's talk about what you doing wrong.